Lord Lucifer's end is Ranish, Tasa, Ubaraka, Biasa, Ikar, Lord Lucifer. Ranish, Tasa, Ubaraka, Biasa, Ikar, Lord Lucifer. Ranish, Tasa, Ubaraka, Biasa, Ikar, Lord Lucifer. Typically it's about the Lord Lucifer, but whenever I do ends, I always put their title. The spirits with me have been very adamant about using their titles when referring to them, but that may just be me. Oh, I already have an incense stick over here. That may just be me. I have a habit of calling people Miss and Sir. I guess from school we're always taught to call people Miss and Sir. So even as an adult who is not in education, I still do that. This video is about shadow work with Lucifer. I'm at the park, and on the way to the park I felt a very strong demonic presence, and it reminded me to speak about. That's one thing I really do love about this path, embracing being a demonolotress, is that the spirits, they're very loud, they're very in your face. They reveal themselves in many different ways. They reveal themselves into ways that are familiar with you. I work with numbers, I work with signs, I like synchronicities. 222 on the clock, as I said that. 23, which is a mirror of King Osmodee's number. And when I see 24, I know it's King Osmodee because he thinks he's funny and he wanted to give me the number 42 instead of 32 to make things harder for me. But this is not about King Osmodeus. Although King Belial's energy is here, King Osmodeus' energy is here, and there's another new spirit that I've been working with, and I'll keep that to my heart for now, and I might do a video about her later, but I'm working with another new goetic spirit who has revealed themselves to me. The first piece of shadow work Lord Lucifer presented to me was coming out to my family. Let me ground myself because I'm looking left and I'm looking right. I just need to look here. Coming out to my family was the first thing he wanted me to do. And I think it's just about authenticity. I pride myself in being an authentic person. And I'm very out with who I am and how I choose to live my life. And at the time, I was seeing someone. I had a girlfriend. And things were getting a bit more serious. I was falling in love. And although the people close to me knew, although my friends knew, certain family members did not. Like my mother and my father did not. And Lucifer was like, it's time that you tell your parents. Not necessarily that you're queer, but that you have a girlfriend. Open up to them. Let them in. You don't need to hide or suppress yourself. And I think the main message was to be authentically me and to let people know you either accept me or you leave me alone. How did Lucifer encourage me to come out to my family? Okay, let me tell you a bit of backstory about how I met Lucifer. I met Lucifer through King Belial. I was working with King Belial, and he's known for his tower moments. King Belial is a harsh teacher. He wants the best for you. He's very fatherly, and just like my father, he rules with an iron rod, and he's kind of stern, and I'm kind of stubborn. So sometimes there's a clash between my energy and King Belial's energy because subconsciously I rebel. Lord Lucifer is the rebellious one. What did he do? He rebelled against God, against Yahweh, against the God of war. So I remember saying to King Belial, please, is there another way we can do this? Is there someone else I can work with right now? Because this is a lot. And instantly, one crow representing King Belial became two crows representing King Belial and Lord Lucifer. That's how I met Lord Lucifer. I started getting a lot of 666 energy. I started seeing two crows instead of one crow. I also started seeing a lot of sunflowers. One of Lord Lucifer's favorite offerings or symbols is the sunflower, because he's a king represented by the sun. Well, he's a lord, but he's the morning star, and stars, sun, sun, star, same thing. So the sunflowers would follow me. I would see so many sunflower symbology, so many 666, ruler of hell energy. He really is a prince of darkness, the king of hell. He really is who he says he is. So instantly I recognized that Lord Lucifer's energy was a lot less harsh than King Belial's. It was welcoming, loving almost. I describe Lord Lucifer as a brother, and I describe King Belial as a father. So you can see the difference in dynamic already. I am someone that grounds themselves through TV shows as well as earthing. I do a lot of earthing, a lot of taking my shoes off, touching the earth, putting my hands against a tree, sun gazing. I do a lot of sun gazing, which connects me to a lot of deities that resonate with the sun. So watching TV shows is a way that spirits communicate with me, because like I said, their spirits will communicate with you in ways that are familiar with you. Some people are clairaudient, they can hear the spirit. Some people can see the spirit. I'm working on that. I receive downloads. I communicate telepathically. I see signs and I have to put the puzzle pieces together like it's motherfucking Hansel and Gretel picking up the breadcrumbs. The spirits leave me breadcrumbs. They breadcrumb me, and it's up to me to piece it all together. I was guided to watch Ugly Betty. Ugly Betty is an old TV show. It's from the early 2000s, if I am not mistaken. I never watched it growing up. I decided to watch it earlier this year. I don't remember how many seasons there are, but there's many seasons. It wasn't until the last season that Lucifer had a message for me. And it's the scene where Betty's younger brother is queer. Everyone knows he's queer, but he's in denial. He's the one that's in denial. And it's funny because I'm remembering now in secondary school, a lot of the girls would say to me, Amani, like, are you a lesbian? Like, and I would say, no, like, I am not a lesbian. And I would say, I like what I like. I am who I am. So I was in denial because I was raised Christian. I was raised that men and men don't go together. I'm half Jamaican, so Batty Man After Dead. All of these homophobic indoctrinations were instilled and programmed into me. So I grew up in denial. But I always knew that I liked girls. I would just say, I like what I like, you know. And it wasn't until I moved to another secondary school and it seemed like all the girls were gay in my second secondary school. So I was like, hey, I like girls. So the brother was in denial, and I forgot his name. I'm getting Mark, but he was the queer assistant for the other lady. And he speaks to the brother, basically telling him, look, you're safe here. You're safe in your identity. You're here, you're queer. Tell your family who you are. They will accept you. And even if they don't, you have to accept yourself. It comes from within. The crazy thing was, as I was watching this episode of Mark comforting this queer young lad, the energy in the room shifted, and Lord Lucifer was now in the room with me, looking me dead in the eye. And as this is happening, the camera shot of Ugly Betty changed to like a POV, and it was as if Lucifer was looking dead at me, whilst the character of Mark was speaking. Lucifer was telling me, it's time to come out to your family. You have a girlfriend who you're falling in love with, and why hide that? Love is to be celebrated. Love is to be enjoyed. Love is to be appreciated. Love is to be admired. Love is to be respected. And if they can't respect you in all of your glory, in all of your fluidity, in all of your queerness, then they don't need to be a part of your journey. I cried during this scene because it wasn't just two characters in a TV show. Lord Lucifer was talking to me. Lord Lucifer was talking to me. As I said, I had had some time getting used to Lord Lucifer's energy. I had met him through the crows. I had met him through the sunflowers. I had met him through the numbers. King Belial had passed the baton onto him. Lord Lucifer was now with me, and he said to me, if you're going to work with me, you need to be authentic in who you are. And that involves telling the two most important people in your life, not necessarily that you're queer, but that you have a girlfriend, because you don't need to hide this anymore. Lucifer often presents himself, manifests himself in the 3D to me as a white gay man. I don't know why, but it's happened many times where I've felt his energy and I look and it's a white queer man, and he's very flamboyant, he's very sassy, he's very confident, almost cocky, but cocky to the point where you have to respect it. He's humorous, he's very witty, sharp-witted, he's charming. And here's a few messages that he's left for me. Tap into who you are and unleash your powers within. He's also said to me, if something doesn't go to plan, adjust the plan. You don't need to make things harder for yourself. Whereas with King Belial, I kind of feel like I have to do it this way and I have to push through. Lord Lucifer wants you to persevere, but you're always welcome to adjust the plan. You're always welcome to say, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's try something different. Lord Lucifer, like King Belial, is all about being the master of yourself. What did, in the Bible, Lord Lucifer wanted to do? He wanted to rebel against God, they say, because he wanted to be God. That's not the story that I resonate with. It's not about him, overpowering God and being God. It's about being the master of yourself. It's about being the God of yourself, you understand? Lord Lucifer also reminds me to be responsible for your actions. Although he's all about free will and he's all about being in charge and in control of your life, he's also a responsible guy. Like, he understands that actions have consequences, and he's all about don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Although I don't find him to be very punishing, he leaves that up to the laws of the universe to play out. He's very big on self-love, and I think that was the shadow work he was trying to like get me to do. Release shame. Like I said, I grew up in a religious household. Homosexuality was frowned upon. I've always known I liked girls. I remember in primary school, there was this one girl in particular. I would always go nervous around her. I was about 5 years old. And I would always go nervous. I couldn't speak. I would get butterflies in my stomach, but I didn't know how to articulate it. I was only 5 and 6. But something about certain girls would just make me flutter and fluster. It wasn't until I got a bit older that I started liking guys. And I embrace my bisexuality. I embrace loving who I love. But I think coming out was releasing shame. Coming out was stepping into my authenticity. Coming out was stepping into my power of this is who I am, and if you don't accept me, leave me. And I told my grandmother, who was like my mother, this girl that I'm always around is my girlfriend, and she said, I kind of had a feeling, and it's up to you. It's your life. I know she doesn't understand it because she wasn't raised to understand it, but I know in her heart of hearts, she loves me. And it was like a weight off my shoulder. I also told my father, and he just rolled his eyes and kissed his teeth and said, okay. It was very boring. He's a very boring guy when it comes to opening up. He's not really good with the intimate conversations, you understand? Lord Lucifer is a spirit of air and fire, and when I meditate with him and I do candle gazing, he magnifies the flame and engulfs the room with a blazing white light of pure brilliance, of pure light, love, intelligence, knowledge, truth-seeking, motivation, creativity, sexuality. He embraces his divine feminine and his divine masculine. Lord Lucifer reveals himself to many people as a woman. To me, he reveals himself as a white queer man. Maybe he will switch things up, but he's always a sassy white gay man to me, and I like it. I like it, Lucy. I like it. Lord Lucifer, as well as King Belial and a lot of the other spirits that I work with, have helped me to release addiction, and I will be doing a video on working with demons and releasing, overcoming addictions. I have been sober for the longest time in my life, since I was 14 years old. I have tried many times to be sober in my life, especially since becoming a mother, and I failed. It hasn't been until I started working with demons that I've had the willpower, I've had the determination, I've had the discipline, I've had the self-love, the stepping into my self-worth. It just so happens to be October, sober October. The synchronicity is crazy. I've been sober for all October. So pat on the fucking back to me. Also, when I sun gaze, Lord Lucifer transforms the sky into this hot, blazing pink. He's very hot. He's very fiery. He's the element of air and fire, and I love that. So that's a little bit about the shadow work journey that I've been on with Lucifer. Like I said, he introduced himself to me after I asked King Belial to introduce me to someone else, and he gave me Lucifer. His symbology for me is the sunflowers and the 666, as well as many other things. He's got many other offerings, many other recognitions. I may or may not do a video of his offerings, of his colors and all of his associations. If you want a video more in depth about his law, more in depth about his department, how he can help you, I can give you a quick thing. I feel like I always relate him to King Belial, but it's because that's how I met him. I met him through King Belial. But Lord Lucifer steps in more with a creative energy, whereas King Belial is more about you need to work on yourself, your discipline, your self-worth, your addictions, your trauma, your responsibility. Lord Lucifer says, express yourself. He says, right. He loves the arts. He's a very educated man. He's very inspiring. He's very intellectual, very witty, very academic. He knows all. He knows all. He inspires. He motivates. I love Lord Lucifer, and I thank him for his presence and his essence in my life. He's a creative force, a creative drive. He loves when I'm creative, when I'm writing. So my shadow work with him has been about being authentically me and pushing past barriers that have once held me in a position of shame, held me in a position of trauma and low self-worth. Like I said, it's this in denial. He will shake the ground and say, this is not who you are. Reveal yourself, unleash yourself, be true to yourself. And if people don't accept it, fuck him. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him. But I think he wanted me to come out to my family so badly because he knew, bro, they're going to accept you. Religion indoctrinates people to have these false beliefs that people don't even agree with. Homophobic people, let me tell you something, they're only homophobic because they've been taught to be homophobic. They're not homophobic in their hearts. And do you know what breaks my heart? In 2024, my grandmother still goes to church, and sometimes I sit with her and I watch it because since COVID, they film it and they put it online. It's 2024. The woman had the nerve, the audacity, the disgusting nature to say, may homosexuality be rid of these people, may the spirit of homosexuality be gone. It's 2024 and they're still being homophobic in the church. You people disgust me. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's time to break free from mainstream religion. It does nothing but oppress you. I understand people want to have a connection with God, but the connection with God comes from a connection within yourself. Queerness is truth. Queerness is freedom. Queerness is life. Queerness is love. Do you understand me? It's 2024, soon 2025. There's no space for oppression. And if Lord Lucifer is the one to rebel against God, your God that tells you that you're not worthy as who you are, your God that tells you you need to confess your sins and do this and do that and do this and do that and conform and be who I tell you to be, that is not a loving God. No wonder the mightiest angel in heaven had to rebel. He said, I'm not standing for this fuckery. Religion breeds a society of sheep. Why do you think there's so many wars? Why do you think there's so much oppression and poverty and destruction? Because religion breeds fools who blindly follow. Whereas these spirits promote authenticity, freedom of the soul, evolution of the self. There's no evolution in religion, only oppression. You can never get so far. I see all over TikTok, meditation is demonic, yoga is demonic, divination is demonic, talking to your ancestors is demonic. These are the things that free your soul. Religion wants your soul to stay in this matrix of time, stay in this matrix of us versus them, black versus white, homophobia. All of this fuckery, politics, entertainment, religion, the educational system, the healthcare system, these are the things that we're fighting against, not ourselves. Lord Lucifer, thank you always, always, always for your essence in my life and for you continuing that I must go in to truly grow out. You understand? So that's where I'm going to leave this.